We're missing the mayor.
He's trying to get logged on right now, he said.
Okay.
Okay, Mayor's gonna have to come up and use my computer. He can't get his to work, so y'all stand by.
You get to put me on camera.
So we can't mute up here, so you have to be quiet. You're not
I don't, never. All right. All right. Sorry about that. I was having little computer problems. All right. Heck of an evening already. All right. I'd like to call the regular scheduled Kingston City Council meeting to order. I'd like to ask Mr. Brown on there. I don't see who else on there.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to ask Mr. Brown if he'd lead us in invocation, and I'll lead us in the pledge of the flag here. Mr. Brown?
Randy Ellis.
There it goes. I'm sorry, guys. I've got phones ringing and hold on just a minute. Would you pray with me, please? Our Heavenly Father, we come to you once again with grateful hearts, thanking you for the opportunity to represent the city of Kingston and its business here tonight. Be with each one of us as we make the decisions for the city, and be with our country in these trying times. Be with our president and our president-elect. And dear God, I know that for some reason you have a reason for this terrible virus that's going around. Roane County hit over 5,000 today. So we would hope that you would wrap your arms around all of the world and bring a healing hand to all those that have been affected. And we give you praise every day. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Kelly, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Present.
Councilmember Childs,
Present.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Present.
Vice Mayor Humphreys,
Present.
Councilmember Stockton,
Present.
Councilmember Wright,
Present.
Mayor Neal.
Present. All right, the first item on the agenda is the approval of previous minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve, or 3 meetings we had in December. Do I hear a motion to approve those as they stand, if there are any corrections?
Make the motion
Motion by Ms.
to approve
Stockton.
all three.
Wait a second. Did I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Ms. Stockton, do you or Ms. Humphrey see any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No.
Madam Clerk, call the roll on the minutes, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
So 5 is citizens' comments and persons wishing to appear. Is there anyone on the call that is wishing to talk to us tonight that we don't already have it on the agenda?
I would, Tim, if you don't mind for just a second, I wanted to make sure, I know Jeff might not know, but, and some of the others, council members may know, but the project that we're going to discuss tonight, the streetlight project, the energy audit, actually what happened, I do all of the IT work for the city of Kingston, Harriman, Rockwood, Roane County government, a lot of local businesses. And so in working with Rockwood, they were last year, they were completing their streetlight project and energy audit. And so I took a look at that project because we do a lot of consolidation of network services. So in an effort to try to lower monthly cost and yearly cost, I just completed a project with Rockwood, very similar to the one that I completed with Kingston about 3 years ago, which did a lot of billing consolidation, which netted the city of Kingston about a $16,000 a year reduction in internet and telephone usage charges. Anyway, in the process of doing that, I took a look in at the streetlight project they were working on and then reached out to Path Company and engaged them to come in and take a look at the city of Kingston with me to see what was the potential there, knowing that they had just completed the city of Rockwood and had worked with Rockwood Electric to be able to complete that. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody realized why I was on the call. I'm the one that brought this up, brought it back to David and to have the discussion about it, and then started the discussion. And then, of course, the city of Kingston put out an RFP for an actual industrial grade audit. And of course, that's what we responded to. So I'm a direct contractor for Path. I'm a partner with them. I work with them on multiple city and county government projects. So it's not just the St. Kingston project. I'm a local contact. So I would be the local contact for that project. So, I mean, I'm in every building, just about monthly. I'm in every building that the city of Kingston owns. I know all about the infrastructure and so forth. So as far as just making sure that we know that the reason I'm on this call, number one, and then number two, the fact that I am the local contact and would be the local contact for the project going forward if Path Company is selected.
All right.
And if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer those.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Does anybody have any questions for Brad? All right. If there's no one else, we're going to go into Richard Hill and Mitchell Emmett Hill to formally present the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020.
Thank you. I did check with David, and he said y'all got either a PDF or a paper copy of the report. So I'm going to refer to the PDF pages, but I'll throw in the report pages if anybody's going with their paper copy. So I'm going to start on page 35 of the PDF, which is page 20 of the paper copy. As you're flipping to that, I'll tell you about a couple of things that appear in the pages before that. On page 11 of the PDF is the certificate for reporting excellence that the city was awarded for their 2019 report. That's three years in a row, I think. So that's good. And then this report has been submitted for that same certificate. There are very few cities in the state of Tennessee that get this award. So that's quite a credit to the city of Kingston and your administration. Page 16 and 18 of the report is our opinion as a result of the audit. It's a clean run modified report. That's always good news. That's the goal of every audit, really. If you're on page 35 of the PDF, page 20 of the paper copies is the balance sheet at June 30, 2020 for the general fund and the drug fund. Shows the amount of assets in each category, the liabilities, and so on. Then if you'll skip the next page and go to page 37 of the PDF, page 22 of the paper copy. The revenue and expenses for the year, that continues on to the next page. Actually had more revenue than expense by 162,218 in the general fund and 3,200 in the drug fund. So that's a good year. You brought in more money than you spent, and you got your fund balance up above the minimum. MTAS wants you to have at least 25% of your annual budget in fund balance, and so by having that kind of increase in the general fund, you now have that minimum fund balance that MTAS recommends. So that's good news. The next several pages are the detailed budget for the general fund, the drug fund. There's nothing unusual there. Let's flip all the way over to page 52 of the PDF, which is 37 of the paper copy. It's the balance sheet for the water and sewer fund. The assets are on page 37 of the paper copy, 38. And then starting on page 39 is the income statement, what I'll call it, for the water and sewer fund. So revenue was down from the prior year. If I recall right, David may remember more details, but generally what we've seen in our city audits is that customers use considerably less water. After the pandemic hit in March, they just didn't have the activity that they've had in the past. So your operating revenue is down some from 19 to 20. Your expenses stay pretty much the same in total. So if you flip all the way over to page 41, 56 of the PDF, and look 3 lines up from the bottom, you had a change in net position, a minus 179,373, and that's up from last year was a loss of 65,000. Most of that can be tied in the fact that revenue dropped and you just weren't able to cut expenses quickly enough to respond to that. I do know that you're in the midst of a rate study. I don't know the latest on that, but you are going through that. Because state law requires that number be a positive. You have to charge rates sufficient to pay operating expenses, capital outlay, and debt service. And they measure that on that line that says change in net position. So that's the results for your year ending June 30, 2020. The only other things I wanted to cover, and I'll just give you these numbers and tell you the page numbers. You can look at your convenience on 109 and 110 of the PDF. During the year, the city paid down nearly $800,000 of its debt. So that's good news. Page 113, you're required to do an Excel form that's an American Water Works Association financial reporting analysis. And so out of a scale of 100, the city had 94, which is commendable. That's not just based on dollars, but that's based on the condition of the system and so on. And then finally, the last few pages, starting on page 155, is our report on internal control and compliance, and we had no findings. Again, several years now that we have not had any findings or recommendations for improvement as a result of our audit. So that's the report at a high level. I'm happy to answer any questions from the board members.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Hill?
Mayor, I don't have a question. I'll just point out, Richard, we did complete the rate study. We followed the recommendations of the Water and Wastewater Finance Board completely. They put in place not only some incremental rate increases to help erase that deficit, but also we're in the process of working with them to do away with our in-city, out-of-city differential. So that was another issue that they wanted to address. So we cooperated with them. It was a pretty good process, and I think the end result will definitely be that we're able to offset that depreciation and some of the other things that are giving us that operating loss. So we did complete that. We'll be following up with them over the next couple of years and hopefully come out of that with that issue resolved. So.
Well, and to David's point, I should have probably been more clear about this. Included in that $179,000 loss is nearly $700,000 of depreciation. So that's an expense you don't write a check for. So it's not like you lost that much cash. I think your cash balance actually went up. but you've got to cover depreciation. That's part of state law. So that's good to hear that you're already that far into the process.
Right, and that's part of the process we had to go through with the board. If no one else has any more questions for Mr. Hill, it seems like a good audit. It's something we have to commend the staff on. Like he said, several years in a row without any findings, and that's really, really probably unusual for most cities.
I would agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, would it be appropriate to make a motion to accept the findings of the audit and make it a part of the record, Mr. McPherson?
I think that is number A, under 9 new business, Tony. Mr.
Okay,
Brown?
thank you.
Yeah, that's when we'll do it then.
All right, thank you.
All right, reports.
Mayor, do you want me to hang on for that, or since there aren't any questions, just assume that the council will approve that?
Yeah, I think you're fine. If you've got something else to do, you're fine. If not, we'll give you a call.
Unfortunately.
If not, we'll
Thank
give you a
you.
call back.
We appreciate it. I have to credit Dave and Michelle and your staff too. We did much of the audit remotely. They sent us things electronically. We're trying to manage our risk and your all's exposure as well. And so I really have to commend them for coming up with new ways to get us some material to audit. We didn't restrict any of our procedures by any means, but we just had to approach it a little bit differently. So I should commend those folks that helped out in that effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go into reports. I cannot think of anything that I have to report, so I'll go around. Ms. Stockton, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Ms. Humphries, do you have anything to report?
No, not much. Just I wanted to bring up, I'm sure everyone probably saw the post on Facebook where Chase had posted that we are starting to try to fundraise for the 4th of July. Assuming optimistically that we get to have it this year, we felt we had to go ahead and start fundraising. So that has begun.
Okay. Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mr. Brown?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Childs?
No, sir.
Mr. Griffiths, welcome to your first council meeting. Do you have anything to report?
No, not yet.
All right, now I'll go into the city manager's report. Mr. Bowley.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things in addition to my written report. I want to give you an update as we have every month. Our operations remain under COVID protocols. Where applicable, departments are still working modified schedules. Of course, all of our indoor facilities remain closed to the public. Our goal throughout this has been to take every step we can to keep our employees and citizens safe while also maintaining the highest level of service that we can. And I really can't say enough about our department heads and our employees for their ability to do that. I think given the circumstances, they've done an amazing job. We're going to keep monitoring the situation. We'll reevaluate it toward the end of the month, like we've been doing every month, decide what protocols we'll have in place going into February, and appreciate everybody's patience as we work as hard as we can and try to be fluid with this situation. But as always, we'll let you know if anything changes. I wanted to give you an update. It's that time of year. Thankfully, our property tax collections are coming in. They're going very well to date. We've collected just over 1.2 million of the 1.9 that we budgeted, which actually has us around $13,000 ahead of where we were at this time last year, which I think is pretty good considering the impact that COVID's had on the economy and people's jobs. Really says a lot about the stability of our tax base, and I think that's a real benefit to what we do. So very happy with that. We hope that that continues over the next couple months and we have good collections. Had several questions about the progress of the Greenway repairs. As you know, that's underway. Wet weather has prevented them from working on that. It's simply been too muddy for them to get up there and do the work they need to do. Weather permitting, as soon as possible, they'll be back on the job, and we look forward to getting that finished just as quick as we can. Finally, tonight, you notice on the agenda, and I apologize, this wasn't on the workshop agenda. We just didn't have enough information. at the time, but we put on there asking for approval to allow the fire department to apply for this year's Assistance to Firefighter grant. Like I said, that's on the agenda in a bit, but I just wanted to explain for a second why that wasn't brought up in the workshop. We are working on our 5-year capital plans, as I mentioned it the other night, and we will be including funding for new radios for the fire department in there as a potential project, but commend the fire department for looking at every possibility to offset that cost. We hope that we may be successful. I think the awards for this grant come up in May, so it's possible that we could get the money and be able to take that out of our capital plan, and that would certainly be a huge bonus for the fire department. So we're gonna work on that. We'll be getting that application submitted. Assuming you all approve for us to do that tonight, we'll be getting that submitted in the next few weeks, and I'll keep you posted as we hear more about that. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the city manager? All right, seeing none, we'll go into number 7, additions of items to the meeting agenda received after the close of the agenda deadline. I've not received any. Number 8 is unfinished business. There is none. Number 9, it starts out with new business. The first is item A is consideration to accept the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020. Do I hear a motion to accept the audit report?
Make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Stockton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Childs. Any other discussion on the financial report? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphreys,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright, Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item B is consideration to appoint a member of the council to fill the vacancy city council representative seat on the library board. I think I've talked to Mr. Griffith. He is willing to do this for us. Do I hear a motion that we appoint him to the library board as a member of the council?
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Stockton. Is there any other further discussion?
No,
Mr. Mayor, just noticed that Councilwoman Wright was quick to nominate.
Very quick.
She wanted to do it before he changed his mind.
She's welcome.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths, Vice Mayor Humphreys,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton, Councilmember Stockton, Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item C is consideration to appoint Robert Sparks to the Beautification Committee to fill an unexpired term ending March 1st, 2022.
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Stockton, second by Ms. Humphreys. Any discussion on this appointment?
I just would like to add, I think Robert Sparks adds a lot, and he already helps the beautification, so I was very pleased to hear that he was interested in joining the committee.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on Mr. Sparks.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphreys,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item D is consideration to approve the first reading of ordinance 21-112-01, an ordinance establishing policies and procedures for the water department. This is something we discussed in the workshop last week, and I see that our Mr. Attorney got the ordinance done. Do I hear a motion for this ordinance?
Yes, I would move for discussion.
Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
All right, Mr. Brown.
This book that we got, I'm assuming that these are all the policies that this resolution includes?
Mr. Bowley.
Yes, this would adopt all those policies as a set. I mean, certainly we can, if you all would rather break it down and do that, go through that more thoroughly, do it one by one, we can do that, but we're presenting them as a group.
And in that the book that we got, it also had in the back of it loose the emergency procedure plan. That is not part of this, or is it?
I don't have my book in front of me, but no, that's put in there, and there will be other supplemental information put in there. But I'm assuming, and I can go get mine, but I'm assuming what you're seeing is the emergency plan that we have to put in place every so many years. So.
Yes, I was just wondering if we were adopting it separately or if that was part of this policy. No. So when I file it, I'll know what I'm talking about.
No, you've already adopted that.
Okay. And then a couple other things. Would it be appropriate to number these differently so that we can pull them out in case I lose one out of, not that you all would, but if I lost one of the policies, right now they're only by tab and it's behind the tab. Would it be appropriate maybe like the first one I pulled out was surplus property disposal? Would that be appropriate that would be policy number 1279 or something and have a policy number for each of these policies that's in this, just for reference purposes?
Sure, we can format them that way. That'd be easy enough.
And then under tab number 27, deals with the water and sewer adjustment policy, which we have already passed. And that's what I asked the other day about Mr. McPherson, and his resolution does away with whatever we've done. And if it's in this book, it takes care of it. And that's the reason I was wanting to make sure, because I think that other one may have had a policy number on it. But I just want to warn everyone to look at the policies. And if you haven't read this, read it before the next meeting that we have. Okay? Because I think we got an email the other day from David about a customer, and we have had several customers who have come in wanting adjustments. Ladies and gentlemen, when you pass this, that's in here. I don't want to come back and everybody think, well, why are we doing that? And where's our policy? And let's try to do something different. I think after many years of sitting on this water board, this is the first time that we've ever had, or that I've ever received, a bound book full of policies that we can pull when a customer or a client of ours calls and wants to know what they can and can't do, that it's in here. And I commend the staff for doing that. But where I was going to on the behind tab 27, it's talking about the adjustments. And I don't know if we have changed it since then or not, because it's talking about under line item number 3, under the leak protection for residential customers up to the $2,500 that $2,500 that the insurance company pays for us. but then it goes on and talks about non-qualifying commercial account customers. Did we not, am I thinking that at the time of this, do we have any non-qualifying customers, I guess is my question. When we first got this Service-Line, they did not have coverage for commercial customers, if you'll remember. Then they came back and they offered it, and we sent that out. So do we still have non-qualifying customers that can't get the insurance?
Yes, we have, and I can give you a number on that. I don't know how many, but there are some limitations on the commercial policy. It wouldn't be many. I think most of our businesses do qualify based on size of meter, that sort of thing. But I do believe there are some that do not qualify.
And then I don't.
And Kelly or Marcia may have a better answer than that. I forget sometimes that they're on the call too. So Marcia, Kelly, feel free to expand on that.
So saying that, between now and then, would it, and maybe I'm just overlooking it, Marcia and Kelly, that it doesn't refer to any commercial customers other than non-qualifying. See where I'm coming from?
Tony, the commercial policy coverage only covers up to a 2-inch meter. So if they've got a meter larger than a 2-inch, they will not qualify for the commercial coverage. The residential coverage, we actually have some that if it's a compound meter, they are not eligible as well. So those we would still use, or what we have been doing is if they are not eligible to be covered under Service-Line, we still do the adjustment like we normally would in the past before the Service-Line came along. And Marcia, if I'm misquoting anything, please jump in.
Marcia? Then I guess my response would be, I think that needs to be in this policy then.
It seems like there's still a lot of questions, and Ms. Evers ain't got to you yet, but I'll go ahead and ask you if you got any questions, because I'm getting ready to ask Tony if he'll withdraw his motion and let us look at this a little bit more in depth.
No, I agree. I think you're right.
Okay. And Mayor, I don't want to put a snag in it. I'm all for it. I just want to make sure that we've got everything that's covered, and they may be able to have it done by the second reading if we went ahead and passed it the first reading, so we don't have to start from scratch. And then that gives everybody else a chance to see if there's anything. And Marcia may come back tomorrow and tell me, Tony, that's uncalled for. We don't need it. But if what Kelly tells me, if we've got a policy that we reverted back to before we had the insurance, I think that's part of our problem. I think if that's what we're doing, where is that at in writing? I don't want to have sewer customers come back like we've got right now, and somebody has told them, well, you're not on it, you're out of it. And we've got those two problems right now. If we'd had a policy like this in writing that they pull off the shelf, we wouldn't have those two customers upset with us.
Okay, so do you want to continue on and pass this on first reading then tonight?
Yeah, I don't want to hold it up. I mean, I think they've put too much work in. I mean, guys, this is some good stuff here. I mean, Kelly, you can tell I read my book.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else on?
So I don't really want to withdraw. I think we can get it all taken care of by the next meeting and get it enforced as quickly as we can. I just want everybody, we've had council people before. Well, I don't remember seeing that. Where did we do that at? We didn't do that. Well, we did. Just don't want to come back and have to change it again month after next after we pass this.
Yeah. And we can edit anything like that prior to the second reading. And of course, we'll have a workshop before that as well. So anything you all want added to this or corrected, we'll certainly have time to do that. So.
Again, the people that worked on that, great job. I appreciate you and want you to know it, that I think y'all got it. It's obvious that you've spent a lot of time going back and finding old policies and putting them together, and I really appreciate your effort.
I appreciate that. It was a team effort. We had a big group of people together from all parts of the department, and a lot of people put in a lot of hours. So they did really well, and we're proud of this. And again, it's not perfect. We're going to find things we need to fine tune, and we want to change as we go along. But I think this gives us a good foundation to build on. So.
Does anyone else on council have any comments? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the first reading of ordinance 21-1201.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphries,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
So that passed on first reading, and we'll continue working on that in the next month. Item E is consideration to select either path or train to conduct a no-cost, no-obligation comprehensive energy efficiency audit for the city of Kingston, and to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with a selected company for the performance of their said audit. We have a motion. Do I hear a motion on to consider either path or train to conduct the energy efficient audit? I'll ask one more time. Do I have a consideration for to either select either path or train to conduct a no obligation, no cost audit for the city of Kingston? Item fails for a lack of motion. Item F is consideration of approval for the fire department to apply for the 2021 Assistance to Firefighters Grant and to authorize the commitment of 5% local matching funds. Do we hear a motion for the fire department to apply for this grant?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Childs, second by Ms. Stockton. Anything, Mr. Childs, on that?
Anytime we can get free money, we need to try to get on it.
Ms. Stockton?
No.
Council, anything?
I just have a question. We are committing money to this now, right?
Yes, we would be. The 5% match,
We
whatever
are
it is.
committing the 5% matching. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't hit in time. Assuming we get it, it wouldn't hit in time for this fiscal year. We'd have to commit that the $4,000 some plus dollars it'd be in next year's budget more than likely. Like I said, they won't be making awards till May, so there's probably no likelihood that we would get awarded, get a contract, and get the expenditure done by July 1st. So it probably will bleed into next year's budget if we get so lucky.
Okay.
Any other questions on item F?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Brown?
I don't want to scare the rest of you, but sometimes I have a little inside knowledge on some of these items because of my position and the boards that y'all have put me on. Again, this is to be commended with. I'm commending that y'all have done a great job getting this again. David, my question, and I don't know if you can answer this for me or not, I went through, and I'm going to be real honest, I did not read all of that grant proposal about numbers. Does this replace all of the radios for the fire department in the trucks and the portables?
Yes.
Is there
Trucks,
any way?
portables, and yeah, I'm sorry, trucks, portables, and then there's one or two base units,
Yes.
one for each station. So.
Okay. I don't know if you all are aware or not. I may have mentioned it once before, but the radios that David has one. All the police have radios in car and portables. All the fire department has them. Within the next year or two, all of those are going to have to be replaced. Now you're talking about submitting money. 5% is. I hope we get it. I don't know if we'll get this grant or not. So you might as well put on your thinking caps and capitals that the radios we have are going to be obsolete. If Sheriff Stockton brings any of his work product home and shares it with his councilwoman wife, she could be aware of it, that they've already started. The highway department has already started doing away with the radios. What it is, the radios that we have, they're not going to service them. It's like everything else: paint, wallpaper, solar lights, everything else. They're only good for so many years, and it gets to the point that it costs more you're better to replace them than it is to fix them. So with that being said, everybody can't afford to do these. I hope that we hang on to these radios if we get these old ones, because there will still be some. I know that Sheriff Stockton's holding his back if he takes one out of service, because it could be we just not going to be able to get the parts for these radios we're using now. So it may be that we have to steal some parts off other radios. I know that the radios at our office, and we have 57 of them, it's over $300-something thousand to replace them, and we're replacing 3 a year, and that's not much, but they're about $4,000 a piece. And our radio isn't as sturdy as the model that Willie has included in this. So I hope that we don't trade those in. People like the ambulance service, they're going to have new radios too. And it's just part of the upgrade. So I hope we get this. And if you can find something to replace the police department radios, we need to be looking. Mm-hmm. If we can tag them on this same grant, it would be great. I don't know if we can or not, but we need to just bear that in mind, that those are going to be up too.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Humphreys,
Yes.
Councilmember Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
With nothing else come for the City Council, this meeting's adjourned. Now I'm going to call the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Beer Board to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll for the Beer Board?
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Griffiths,
Present.
Vice Chair Humphreys,
Present.
Member Stockton,
Present.
Member Wright,
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. Do you hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
Make a motion.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the roll on the previous minutes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphreys,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
With no new business for the Beer Board, this meeting's adjourned. Now we'll go straight into the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Water Board. Madam Clerk, call the roll for the Water Board.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Griffiths,
Present.
Vice Chair Humphreys,
Present.
Member Stockton,
She's here, she's smiling.
Member Stockton,
Present.
Member Wright,
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. Do we have a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any corrections or deletions you see in the minutes?
None that I saw.
All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll on the previous minutes.
Member Brown,
Would it count if I said present? Yes.
Yeah, we'll go backwards.
Yeah, just why don't you change them out?
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Griffiths,
Yes.
Vice Chair Humphreys,
Yes.
Member Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Do we have any citizens online that wish to make any comments tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go into the utility director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a couple of items here in addition to my written report. Last month, I mentioned to you that we were working to see if we thought we had a realistic chance at approval that would justify applying for the CDBG grant that's upcoming. It's obviously a very involved process to apply, a lot of steps you have to do above and beyond the actual application, and I didn't want to tie up resources if it's something we didn't feel like we could be successful at. We're hoping to utilize the funding to make I&I improvements, and we feel like that would have scored well. That's certainly something that the state's putting a high priority on. Unfortunately, after a lot of review and meetings with community development partners, we've come to the conclusion that our per capita income is just too high to overcome, along with the fact that because of the size of our utility and the way they're categorizing applications now, that we would be in a competition category, if you will, with much larger utilities. So between those two factors, we felt like that we just wouldn't be competitive enough to justify applying. So we're going to keep looking at other funding opportunities, as we always do. You know, unfortunately, there's a lot of grants available. I come from some jobs previously where you get whatever you apply for, and it's a double-edged sword. We don't have that here, but at the same time, we're very fortunate. The conditions don't exist here to make that possible, but we will keep looking. It's tough for us, quite frankly, for a lot of these grants, but did want to share with you that in this one in particular, we won't be pursuing this cycle. I also wanted to take a minute just to let you know about a great project that Kevin Hamilton and Mike Jolly are working on. We've talked about it. We started talking about this a couple months ago, and we've dabbled around the edges over the years, but we've never had a thorough GIS mapping of our water and sewer system, at least in a format that's useful. So they approached me about this. They started working on it and have been working with a company to take data that we already have, that we've paid for in the past, and put it in a format that they can actually benefit from. The end result of that is going to be an accurate mapping of our sewer and water system that can be accessed from a computer, can be accessed in the field from an iPad, from a phone, and it's going to give our crews on the ground information that they need and that they can use when they need it. Location of lines, valves, hydrants, information about previous leaks and repairs, all this that they can get out in the field. We hope to have a working draft of that soon, and when we do, I'll share it with you. But this is going to be a great tool for them. I think it's just another example of their ongoing effort to make the operations, the utility, more efficient. So I applaud Kevin and his staff for his work on this, and just want to share that with you. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the utility director?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Brown.
I've always got questions. Two questions for you, David. One, any for you and Sandy, any future or any further development on the AutoZone and our sewer line?
The latest communication we had, and I think I shared that with you. We had some response back from the prospective property owner and the attorney for one of the companies that he's trying to recruit there. They had some issues that quite frankly, in talking with Sandy, that we didn't feel like we could entertain given the scope of what you all empowered us to do. So We responded to them that we couldn't go any farther without more input from council. So I just got a very basic response back that we would keep working. So I don't know if that's going to mean that they're going to come back and ultimately agree with our position, or if this is something we'll have to bring to you all to discuss more. But we are still in communication with them, and one way or another, we'll keep working until we can figure out how to get this resolved in a way that's to both of our benefits.
Thank you. And the second question, can you give us an update on your email about Rockwood losing water? And once again, we came to the rescue with our connecting for the water. How long did it take, and that sort of thing?
I haven't got a total on how much was used. I can certainly get that for you, but I do know it's something that, and of course, as these things always do, happened after hours. This is something that Kevin responded to quickly. By the way, we have that set up. It doesn't take very long at all to get that switched over, and you're right. I mean, this is something that's been so beneficial, not so much to help us, but to help others, which is just as important. So we got the request. We were able to get it on quickly, and of course, that's all metered. So we'll have those totals, and we'll get compensated for it. But the biggest thing is those that needed water got water, and I applaud you guys for your foresight when you did that.
The water leak that they had was at their water plant about 100 foot from the last one that knocked the hospital out of water. So their plant's probably, 45 years old or so. We're fortunate to have a little bit newer plant and newer sewer plant. So I'm glad that we were able to help them with it.
Yeah. That's why we did it years ago. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Boley? With no business on the agenda tonight, is there anything else to come before the Water Board? Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.